Talking of prisons, somebody who might be going to one is Donald Trump. Yet again, he's playing kind of judicial bingo at the moment. He's ticking all manner of boxes. He's been charged with plotting to overturn the 2020 election defeat. He's accused of 4 counts, including conspiracy to defraud the US, tampering with a witness, and conspiracy against the rights of citizens. The indictment caps an inquiry into events surrounding the 6th of January riots back in the Capitol, on Capitol Hill in 2021. Trump, who is again running for president, denies any wrongdoing, and social media, he called the case ridiculous. Is it ridiculous? Michael Graham, our man in Washington, who regularly helps us out on these kind of issues, managing editor of Inside Sources. Michael, good afternoon to you. Is Donald Trump finally going to jail?
Well, I just want to say, as an often indicted, never convicted person myself, that I don't believe Trump will be going to jail. And he certainly won't be going to jail on this case, which many legal scholars agree is at best a novel theory, which is that talking is a crime and saying crazy conspiracy theory things is a crime and lying is a crime. I'm looking at the words that are used in the indictment. Listen, this is an indictment. This isn't a political statement about how January 6th was a horrific event, which I agree it was, and most people agree it was, or that Donald Trump is a kind of crazy loony who'll say anything. There are a lot of people who agree with that. The question is, what are you putting him in jail for? For, quote, pushing officials in states to ignore the popular vote. So pushing is a crime. Attempting to use his authority to conduct sham investigations. Well, sham investigations happen all the time. Is it criminal? And who decides what investigation is a sham?
Sure.
Attempted to enlist the vice president. Attempted? So he asked the vice president to do something. And so there's no actual crime related to January 6th. It's not here. It is all Donald Trump said crazy, blatantly untrue things about the election, and that was defrauding the American people. You don't have to think that Donald Trump was honest or right to think that this indictment doesn't make sense in the American system.
Absolutely spot on. And just as with the other charges that he's had against him, I mean, we're not talking about the state taking Donald Trump to court, the federal government taking Donald Trump to court. These have largely been state-initiated legal proceedings.
Actually, that's not true.
What I was about to say, is that the same with this?
Yeah, so this is totally federal. This is absolutely, it's the independent prosecutor appointed by the Biden administration to look at January 6th, and they've been trying to indict somebody other than the crazies who went into the building for a long time. So this is their first indictment along those lines. There are other people mentioned in the indictment. The first indictment was local. It was Manhattan, and then he tried to, and it's technically a federal crime because he did some, once again, novel legal theory to turn hush money to a girlfriend into a thing. The second one is absolutely federal. It's the handling of classified documents, and this is what a lot of people who are trying to be honest about Trump find frustrating. Many people agree that his handling of the classified documents is problematic, if not blatantly illegal. I mean, when you see the photos of the stacks of documents and you hear him on audio going, hey, look at this cool thing of plans to attack Korea or whatever it was, that's a problem. But by throwing in these other scam indictments, you're going to indict you because you said the election was stolen and you said it a lot. Well, now you've buried, the theory is, a legit complaint that might go forward with bipartisan support. You've now buried it into these political prosecutions, and the theory is that this is exactly what Democrats want. They want to keep Republican base angry. They rally around Trump. It locks in Trump as a nominee, and then they think they've got a glide path to a big win. I've got 2 words for everyone who thinks that Trump can't win. Joe Biden.
True.
Absolutely, Joe Biden can lose this election.
But why do they? There is evidence or some surveying, Michael, I really don't understand it, but that says that from the Biden perspective, Trump is the one he can beat. Is that true?
Well, because the latest New York Times Siena poll has them tied at 43%, and the Biden theory is, look, he's not in great shape. You've made fun of him for his performance, and he's, the 39% of the people think he's doing a good job on the economy. It's a terrible number. And so he's going in the wrong direction. But Trump comes with so much baggage. The thinking is that Biden can't win, but Trump is guaranteed to lose. Well, we tried that in 2016. In 2016, you had a candidate guaranteed to lose running against a candidate who couldn't possibly win. And the result was basically a tie. It came down to 50, 60,000 votes over 3 states, and you ended up with Trump as president. Bob Shrum ran 7 Democratic presidential campaigns in the 80s and 90s, and he told me straight up, I don't want the Democrats helping this guy get the nomination because he can win.
Wow. And there it is. I mean, Ron DeSantis, what's happened to Big Ron? I've not seen him around so much these last few months.
You're not going to see anybody because the strategy of keeping Trump front and center lets him suck all the oxygen out of the room. And once again, if the indictments were on things that people went, yeah, like the handling of the documents, then you could have the candidates coming out and saying, I like Trump. I thought he was a good president.
Yep.
I think you might have a 2-tiered system of justice, but come on, that was wrong, and I condemn it. But when you charge him with the bogus, we're going to turn this into a magic felony charge, or the you told people the election was stolen a lot, well, then what can the Republicans say?
Go on, Michael.
Well, I was just going to say, if you don't defend Trump, then you're joining in what is clearly a political attack. Whether it's legit or not, it's clearly political.
It doesn't matter, does it? Whether even if you don't like Donald Trump. I mean,
2 days after we have indisputable proof and acknowledged by Democrats that Joe Biden was on the phone with people who gave millions of dollars to his son, sketchy people in China and Ukraine. 2 days after we have indisputable proof, suddenly Donald Trump is indicted on basically what he said. He said the election was stolen. He didn't mean the election was stolen. We think we know what was in his brain when the election was stolen. Trump has done a lot of horrific things, but horrific and criminal are not the same
Correct.
thing.
They're not the same thing. You know, if Congress had got together and said, look, you know, we've had a meeting and a vote on this and we've decided that Mr. Trump has he's brought politics into disrepute or something like that. I get that, all right? That's fine.
Sure.
But to actually construct a legal case for a man having what at worst are some wacky opinions does seem like, you know, bearing in mind this is the free world, the bastion of the free world, the United States. What would the founding fathers make of this kind of nonsense, Michael?
They would say, please don't mix crime and politics, because that makes the stakes of every election too high. Normal circumstances, you have an election, you lose. You come back and run again in 2 or 4 years. It's not the worst. I mean, it's bad, but it's not the worst thing in the world. But if the deal is you're fighting over control of the Department of Justice, and as soon as I win, you're going to jail. All of a sudden, my election isn't just about an election. It's about, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? They've made the stakes too high. Obviously, Donald Trump has done a lot of awful things. Obviously, his behavior after January 6th was terrible. Obviously, but Democrats, please think about what you're doing. You are criminalizing politics, which means every act is now a fight for your freedom and your life. And our politics are too heated already. People are too angry already. It is not the end of the world. We had Donald Trump for president for 4 years. You know what happened? A guy was president. He did some good things. He did some bad things. That was it. Barack Obama was president for 8 years. The guy's economic theories were truly nuts. He hated Israel. And you know what happened? He was president for 8 years. Did some good things and some bad things. Everybody calm the bleep down.
It's as simple as that. And on that point, I couldn't agree more. Michael, thank you. Michael Graham. He's the managing director of Inside Sources. Check out their website and details. Their US political commentator live for us on Capitol Hill. Thank you to him.